That's literally, I just gave you two new features. So it would be, what's trending, so you can find out like what's trending across the nation or what's across your area based off of your geographic location. If it's something political, which I'm sure it probably will be given the current state. If there's like a hashtag that maybe might be funny, who knows? Maybe you can spark an idea. Like that's kind of like what we want, right? Like you talk to somebody, you had a conversation, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a t-shirt about this particular topic, right? You probably wrote it down or sent a message to yourself, and then you came back home and you gave it to your VA. Well, that happens all the time, right? But we just don't know about it. So we're creating a tool where it literally helps you come up with the idea directly on Penji. So if you can't think of something, we'll help you come up with it.
I'm excited to talk about my sponsors today. Gaye Lisbey's $1 Million Arbitrage Group. Amazing, amazing group. This is a teacher. Gaye was a teacher. She is a teacher still. You need to learn. This is the type of environment you want to be in, because she's going to help you understand why. And I think that's the hardest part of this business, is understanding why. Why is the red one popular when the green one isn't? Well, there's usually a reason. And what Gaye does is probably parse that better than anybody, and she'll explain the reasons for those things. I think that's really powerful. Yes, she puts out a list. You're going to get use of that list if you get in the group. Now, here's the deal. The group isn't always open, right? So you get on the waiting list, and you can join the waiting list through my link. Doesn't cost you anything to get on a waiting list. And if you like her service, which I find that most people do, and that's why there's not so many openings, you'll be with her for a long time. And so it's amazingfreedom.com. She's part of Andy Slamon's group. Amazingfreedom.com/momentum, and you're going to get in to the waiting list. That's all I can get you on right now. You can use my name and see if that gets you anywhere. But what I like about what they teach in that group are the things that are going on, the current things. I've seen a lot of stuff going on about stores going out of business. Well, here's where an opportunity is. Here's why you want to do this. Hey, be cautious about this. With Toys R Us coming out, you got to think about this. And that's the learning that you need to do. And Gaye is better than anybody else I've seen. So amazingfreedom.com/momentum will get you to the waiting list. Then hopefully I can get you in the group, and then you're going to see me in there, and we can chat anytime you're ready. Karen Locker's group, Solutions, 4 e-commerce, solutions4ecommerce.com/momentum. It's going to save you $50. Karen's our account manager. We recommend her to everyone because she's done so well for us. I mean, that's quite frankly the reason we've been paying her for the last few years, but she's become an important part of our team. Her and her team are so involved in our account. I just see the emails coming back and forth. Hey, we did this for you. I just saw 2 listings today, and I'm like, wait a second. Why did they show up? I didn't put any listings up. They got set off to the side by Amazon, and they reactivated them for me. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that just happens when you have a strong team, and I can't recommend Karen enough. If you use my code Momentum, Karen pays me. I don't want to hide that. Of course, we all know that. But you're going to save $50, and it's a great opportunity to really, really build out your team with somebody you can trust. That's why I recommend them. So Solutions for e-commerce, solutions, 4 e-commerce.com/momentum. It's going to save you $50. Oh, and by the way, she's going to do an inventory health report. Why is that important? Well, guess what? Fees are going up. Is your inventory health number declining like ours is? Well, here's why, and here's what they can do. What I like is I get a spreadsheet from them, and it says, hey, here's a bunch of inventory. Here's what we recommend. And I'm like, yep. Delete, return to us, blah, 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 whatever it is, or destroy, and it just happens. That's what I like. The other thing that I have Karen help me with a lot is creating new listings. We do a lot of the research ourselves. We upload our images, and then boom, magically the listing goes live, and I don't have to worry about it. Those are the services that Karen offers. Can't recommend her enough. Solutions4ecommerce.com/momentum. Save $50. Use my code. You save $50 a month every single month, and it's a great service. Plus, you get that free inventory health report. I think it's a really powerful way. So I'm so excited how many people have been joining her because I see it, and I'm excited because the messages I get from people are saying, hey, this is great. I finally feel like I can focus on something else because Karen and her team are watching this for me, and I highly recommend her. Next up is Sellerlabs and Scope. I almost said it wrong. It's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing when you sit back and think about, hey, I want to get this product up, and it's similar to this product, and that product does well. Well, therefore, if that product does well, they have the right keywords. They have chosen things correctly. So guess what? Use Scope, and you can see all that stuff. And that's what the most powerful thing in the world is, to copy somebody who's done it right. That's what you want to take advantage of that, right? I mean, it's fair to see, and so therefore you could take and apply it to your listing and immediately get that same benefit. That's what Scope does for me. Sellerlabs.com/momentum. It's going to save you $50 on the service. Oh, by the way, it's free to try. So sign up, try it, and say, oh, this is how it's done. Boom. And then the light's going to go on, and you're going to be like, man, I can get my products out there. I just can't wait. Can't wait. Sellerlabs.com/momentum. The other day, I bought another domain. Yes, I bought another domain. It's almost like I'm admitting guilt. But it's because I had an idea, and it was something that was a pretty good idea. I think it's going to go pretty far. And so what do? I go to trygodaddy.com/momentum and save 30%. So domains aren't very expensive. You get a few services. It adds up a little bit. And I usually buy 3 years. I usually buy privacy. By the way, I recommend that too. Buy that. It's not that much money, but when you can save 30%, it makes it that much sweeter. And it makes it easier when you're buying domains, and especially if you buy a bunch of domains. I am a domain collector, and so I do tend to do that. But that 30% makes it a lot easier. And I use GoDaddy because what I like is I can pop in an address I'm thinking, and it'll say, nope, try this version or try this extension, and then boom, there it is. Hey, you better hurry before it goes away. And they're right, and so try godaddy.com/momentum, save 30%. Also, I want to mention about Grasshopper. Who was I just talking to? Somebody the other day, and they were like, oh yeah, I use this company called Grasshopper. I'm like, dude, did you buy it through my link and save 30%? Hello? No, they missed that. So save 30%. It's trygrasshopper.com/momentum. No surprise there, but you're going to save 30%. And what the real cool part about that is they're using it for their private label business, and it gives them virtually a second phone on their current phone without having to get another number. They can make up a vanity number. They don't have to go and do all the grief and sign long contracts. Pretty easy stuff. And so if you're creating a brand that you want to identify, you want to look professional, you want to look like a real company, Grasshopper's a great tool. It's an app you put on your existing phone, and boom, you now have a customer service department. You now have a sales department. You now have a manufacturing division. You could forward it to somebody else. You can have it go to different voicemails, different departments, and it's all included. So try grasshopper.com/momentum, save 30%.
Welcome to the E-Commerce Momentum Podcast, where we focus on the people, the products, and the process of e-commerce selling today. Here's your host, Stephen Peterson.
Welcome back to the E-Commerce Momentum Podcast. This is episode 326, Jonathan Grzybowski. Man, oh man, I get so pumped when I do these interviews, and I know I say it, and you're all like, oh, come on, Steve, you're saying it again. I'm just telling you, how can you not... It's like it's infectious when somebody else is enthusiastic about what they do, when you can tell that they deeply love what they're doing. And I'm telling you, I met him face to face, so I could see it, but you'll hear it in his voice. He deeply loves what he's doing. And what he sees himself as not doing design work for others, he sees themselves helping others solve problems they had. And it just like spreads like a wildfire. And then that enthusiasm grows, and then it's catchy. And so guess what? I'm pumped up. So it is very encouraging to see somebody who understands what they're supposed to do. It's very encouraging to see somebody say that they're having the best time of their life helping others because they figured out this is what they're supposed to do. Man, I wish that upon you so much. And if this is something you're interested in, if you're interested in
design, and that's what this conversation is going to be about. They do designs for print on demand, but not only print on demand. I've seen applications for me in my blog and me in my podcast. There's artwork in there, logos. Everybody's looking for logos and stuff. And so it's a flat fee, which is awesome. And you can then send up as many as you need. And there's a limit to what they can get done in a month. But it's very, very cool. You can get revisions. So when it comes back and you're like, man, I just wish they made that a little bit bigger. And most designers, it's like it's done. Well, no, in this case, they will revise it for you, all on their software. So you don't have to have, expensive software. You don't have to learn that design. And it's really going to let you focus. Now, I'm going to warn you that this is an affiliate link. I don't do that many of them, but this one is. And so I'm just going to warn you. However, you save 15% off. So if you go to Penji.co and use the code Momentum, you'll save 15% off your first month, and then they do pay me. So qualify. You cannot put in the promo code, and then I don't get paid if that's suits you. I'm cool with that. Again, I'm looking for somebody who's saying, hey, I've been dying. I just need this way to get my creativity out. I'm not a designer. Boom. I think this is an amazing company. And again, listen to the enthusiasm in his voice. That's the people you want on your team, the people who care, that are going to be with you a long time. Man, I love it, love it, love it. Let's get into the podcast. All right, welcome back to the E-commerce Momentum Podcast. Very excited about today's guest. I'm going to try not to butcher his name, Jonathan Grzybowski. How did I do, Jonathan?
Nailed it.
Oh, dude, I'm in the zone today. I mean, this keto diet has got me focused, man. My mental clarity is right on. And Jonathan's one of the co-founders of a company called Penji. And you're thinking, wait a second, are they importing stuff from India? That's what it sounds like. No. Might be a connection here. I'll be interested to find out where the name comes from. However, they are in the business of designing art that you can use for print on demand, which I imagine a lot of people are using for current Amazon merch and, Teespring, TeePublic, and blah, 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 blah. But also, you do logos and other things too, correct? It's not just for merch shirts. Fair?
Yeah. We have a whole gamut of things that we can do. But primarily, I think the thing that's most relevant to this conversation is merch, and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to give context for people. You guys aren't only handling little sellers like Steve, who has a tier 1,000. I'm seeing the names Reebok, Pep Boys, 1-800-Flowers, Aeropostale. So that means at some point you did work for some division of their business, correct?
Yeah. So primarily, Penji can service. We say that we service like four types of people. So it's like the agencies. So like the marketing agencies.
Well, give me an example of who that would be. What would that be?
A marketing agency would be like a small business that helps other small businesses with their web design, marketing. They might be into SEO, which is search engine optimization, but they're content creators. They're constantly creating content for their customers. So that's
so what service would you provide for them specifically? Logo work and stuff like that?
For the agencies, it's literally every type of design.
Oh, okay.
So for example, an agency could be like we were an agency at one point in time. So I'll give you our personal story. So we were an agency. We were a marketing agency, and we had clients like Rutgers University, which is here on the East Coast of near Philadelphia in Camden. We've had like big insurance companies and Camden County College, and our clients were these big companies, and they hired us to do content creation. So for social media graphics, PDFs, infographics, logo work, email, newsletter, banner ads, like all this stuff. And so we created this tool, which is now Penji, for us internally to scale our design teams. And then we used Penji in order to facilitate all of the graphic design for our clients. Okay. So that's like one side of it. The other side is internal marketing teams to large organizations. So I'm just going to keep naming companies like in Camden. So Subaru's, Campbell Soup, their marketing director may be inundated with design work, and they just either A, can't do it themselves, or B, they don't want to do it because they don't know how to do it. And so we can kind of come in and just be their guide, their aid to all things graphic design. there's startups and small businesses. You can kind of get an idea of how we service them, which is like, again, content creation, logo work. We can get them from the ground up to looking like a well-polished company. And then the last thing, and I've never, ever in my wildest dreams thought that there was a market for this, but the last thing is Amazon, merch by Amazon. And here we are. I was introduced to it by a mutual friend of ours, and I'll give him a shout out because he's awesome, Chris Green.
And he is awesome.
And he was just like, hey man, like, what are your thoughts on, you should jump on my show. And I was like, sure, whatever, man. Like, I've known you for a while, and so he was like, I think this could be really good for the audience. And I had no idea, like, the people that were actually responding and having a conversation back with us on Penji, the overwhelming success of that podcast alone opened our eyes to servicing this demographic of type of people that need their t-shirts designed like the people I'm sure listening to this show. And wow, are we just we're overjoyed to be able to service the you guys. And we have so many updates that we're in the process of doing in order to make your experience on Penji even better. And I might be able to drop a couple, but it's still in the works.
Well, let's get there in a bit. I mean, the enthusiasm in your voice, I think that's exciting to me. I mean, because I like people who care, right? I want somebody who's going to care. When I bring somebody on into my team, and I use an outside designer, so I want to qualify that. I do use an outside designer. When I bring somebody on in my team, I want them to care. I know they're not going to care as much as I do. I get that because it's my business, just like your business is your business. I get that. But I do want to feel like they're part of something. I want them to feel like they're part of something. One of the challenges that I see in using this model, right? So let's just go right to the difficult stuff. Can't get that word out, right? Because it's difficult. Well, I'm worried that you're just churning designs that I'm going to, somebody else is going to get them to, and they're just going to sell them 6-7 times. And so I'm never really going to get further ahead. Second issue is, hey, am I getting the rights to ownership of this design that I can use it anywhere and everywhere I want to for as long as I want? Third is how are you going to help protect me and make sure that my stuff, stays kind of my stuff and you're not sharing it with Steve, that kind of thing. So can you address each of those? Because I think those are the only real difficult things that people have to get past, because that trust issue, it's hard to earn, isn't it, Jonathan?
Absolutely. And I think especially with Amazon, like the Merch by Amazon community, because you have copyrights that you need to be just leery of. You need to make sure that our designs are meeting the criteria that you need to hit in order to post your project. And we need to make sure that everything that we do is custom. And so if you're looking for like a font, or if you're looking for I'll start with fonts. I mean, every font that we have is certified. I don't even know if that's actually a word, but
But I don't think people understand this. This is a big deal, right? This font issue. It's not a big deal until it's a big deal. Right?
Yeah, it's not a big deal until you get caught.
Right.
But I can say that everything that, like, we have subscriptions to services and we have access to download. And so we won't download anything that isn't either free and accessible to the internet or isn't on a particular website that we can download it from. And
so you bought the rights to that, right? You pay a service and you bought the rights to do that, to access. And then you can transfer the rights to me for that one item?
Yeah,
Is that the way it works?
So the way it works is like I'll just use I always use this example because I think it's the most relevant, especially to people who are doing merch. You want a T-shirt that says "I love my dog," and you replace dog with all the 50 to 100 different kinds of dogs that are out there. So it's specific to everybody who likes a beagle or a golden retriever or whatever it may be. What we do is when you come up with that idea, we create it for you. You will receive the PSD file, which allows you to do whatever the heck you want with it. So you can make edits to it if you so choose. You can tweak it yourself, or you can leave it as is. But that PSD file is 100% yours. It's not ours. We have it all on our easy to use platform. You can download it at any time that you wish, but it is 100% yours. You have full, complete control and ownership of that particular design.
Is there special software that I'm required to have, or since it's on your site, that's where the software's kept?
So we've spent a lot of time and energy and testing and asking questions to find out the easiest way to communicate with your designer. And we came up with our own dedicated platform. Mm-hmm. So the only software that you need is access to an internet and a web browser. Mm-hmm. And the rest is done. Because we were an agency prior to, we figured out a lot of the design inefficiencies that happen when you talk to a designer, or when you have to hire a designer or a team member, whatever it may be. And because we figured out, at least what we think we figured out, the inefficiencies, we've passed all the savings on to our customers, and making it more advantageous for you to become a member of Penji, because we kind of quote unquote figured it out. And so now you're just kind of using the system that we've built, and it eliminates email, it eliminates phone calls. We have this really easy point and click that if you don't like something that we designed for you, you just take your mouse, you click on it, and you tell us what you don't like, and then we'll fix it for you. So we're trying to make it like effortless, that even if you aren't design friendly and you're not a designer, you know nothing about design, but you know how to use your mouse and your keyboard, you can still receive designs. You might be that creative type, but you just can't put it out there into the universe. We're trying to make it easier for you to use Penji and get designs no matter what your skill level is.
Well, it's back to that original thing. When you were an agency, you're helping other in-house agencies because they don't have the capacity, right? They don't have the time, the money, they're doing layoffs, they're under the financial constraints like everybody else. And so therefore you scratched that itch, and hence you created this. Now, let me make sure I understand it. So do I have to come up with the concepts for each design? Is that the only way it works, or are there other ways too?
The best way would be to come up with your own.
Okay, so I send you an idea. Hey, man, Jonathan, I've got a big idea. I love my cat. I mean, this is going to be big. It's going to be huge. I mean, it's really going to be big. And so at that point, I mean, are you guys just saying, okay, Steve's the client, let's just do what he says? Or do you say, Steve, there's 8 billion I love my cats out there. And, here's a different spin on it. Or you just say, hey, so you're paying me, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, you can literally request anything that you want.
Okay.
If I could, I'm going to give you just a quick example of like some of the crazy stuff that people ask us for. Mm-hmm. One in particular is I'm trying to use this without actually like coming up with the idea, because I think it's really creative. Let's just say it's like a political figure writing something, right?
Okay.
And I'm just going to be as vague as possible. If you were to actually see the design, what they said and what we came up with is just insanely awesome. It's just cool. Like as the co-founder, being able to look at something and be like, that's pretty dope. Like that.
Well, because you've seen hundreds of thousands of designs by now, right? So
I mean, here's one thing that the merch community loves. For some reason, I understand it, but at the same time, I don't. And it's unicorns, right? Like unicorns go crazy wild on the merch community. And so somebody wanted like I can't mention this one, but somebody wanted a unicorn dabbing, right? Or like a unicorn, I think one was like a dinosaur eating a unicorn, right? And then like rainbows and stuff like that are associated with it too. Our designer literally hand drew the entire thing, illustrated it, transferred into Illustrator, colored it, and all that other fun stuff, and turned it into a kick-ass. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but kick-butt design. And then it's on, it's on merch now. And I don't know what the selling rate is, but I would buy that shirt. Like, it's a cool T-shirt. It looks awesome.
When you think about, because to me, I struggle on the creative side. So, however, where were we this week? I was in Philadelphia for the week.
Podcast movement.
That's right. Yeah, you and I were together. That's where we met. Sorry about that. I totally blanked where I was. But I came up with like 3 or 4 shirts while I was there, and it's based on conversations I had with other people or what have you. And I don't want to miss this opportunity too. There was a whole bunch of people there who have no clue about merch. They're podcasters, and they're like, Jesus, I don't know how to get a shirt. I'm like, dude, I'll do you a shirt. What do you need? Tell me your stuff, and I'll just put it up on my merch account. No big deal. That whole opportunity is wide open for any industry that has people in an industry. You just go to a trade show.
100%.
You can find, you probably, I think about that Philly gift show, probably 200 vendors. I'm betting half of them don't have shirts. And if I went up to them and said, hey, look, I can get shirts up for you. All you have to do is buy them at cost. You don't have to inventory them. You don't have anything. New employee comes on, you order a shirt. You never have to worry about it. Would you be interested? 0 cost. Yeah, hello. So you could do that kind of. Anyway, I had these ideas, and I send it to I have an account manager, and she's great. And so I send it to her, and she gets a design for me. But that opportunity, I struggle with because I don't have the most creativity. So what do you recommend to somebody like me who's probably not going to come up with the best ideas? You guys can make my ideas sing, but what do you recommend for people who can't come up with creative stuff? I'm an accountant by trade.
Yes. So that is actually something really interesting that you just brought up, because we, in Penji's new update that we're about to release in a couple of months, we are making new ways to interact with Penji that if you can't come up with the creative, or you just don't have time to, you can actually take trending ideas that are currently throughout the internet, whatever it may be. Maybe they might be trending on Twitter, and then in order for you to generate ideas. So we're calling it Idea Generator, very basic. But basically what you would do is you would go on to Penji, and you would just click a couple of buttons, and then ideas would pop up. So
it's like an algorithm that would go out there and see what's trending, popular out on whatever, Google or whatever.
So that's literally, I just gave you two new features. So it would be, what's trending. So you can find out like what's trending across the nation or what's across your area based off of your geographic location. If it's something political, which I'm sure it probably will be given the current state. If there's like a hashtag that maybe might be funny, who knows? Maybe you can spark an idea. Like that's kind of like what we want, right? Like you talk to somebody, you had a conversation, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need a T-shirt about this particular topic, right? You probably wrote it down or sent a message to yourself, and then you came back home and you gave it to your VA. Well, that happens all the time, right? But we just don't know about it. So we're creating a tool where it literally helps you come up with the idea directly on Penji. So if you can't think of something, we'll help you come up with it. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to create more value. Like the reason we love the merch community, we love everything that you guys stand for, and we want to service you guys as much as we possibly can. And not to mention, we all sell on Merch by Amazon. We all sell on all of the Redbubble and Etsy and all these other stuff. Like we also sell. Like we don't necessarily like sell our stuff, but when we have cool ideas, we're trying to learn the best ways to sell T-shirts. And then when we learn about selling T-shirts, we then pass our learnings onto our customers and onto our blog. So like we're literally, I'd say, and this is something I'm really proud of, that we're so inundated with the merch community that we're also a part of it with you. And I think that's what makes us really unique from everybody else. Like we're right in the trenches with you. We see our numbers going down. We see our numbers going up, just like you do.
All right, and so you can bend and twist and then pass that along to us. You know, one of the thing that's cool on your site is the Learning Center, because I was out there digging around, and there's like, oh, that's how that worked. Like there was stuff in there I didn't even know how it worked, and so you're good about sharing that information. The other thing I like what you just talked about is Redbubble and Teespring and TeePublic and how many POD sites are there?
I think there's like 50.
Okay, so 50 sites. Yeah. So let's use my dabbing unicorn.
Only like maybe 25 of them matter. Like
okay.
Matter,
so those 25 are the majority, the 80-20 rule, right? Those 25 represent the 80. If I take my dabbing unicorn shirt, right? Don't do a dabbing unicorn. That's been around forever. Everybody's done it. All right. So let's just that's the silicone spatulas of private label, right? Exactly. Please, or barbecue gloves. Please don't do it. But taking that design, How likely, I mean, are the outliers the really successful people saying, you know what, I'm not going for scale of designs, I'm going for scale of marketplaces with a good quality design? I mean, well, I guess there's two thoughts, right? You could do one and just put out everything and just see what sticks. Or you can put out quality and scale it across the multiple platforms. Which do you see being the most successful?
You know, I wish I could answer that a bit much better, but I would say it depends on your style. We have people that do both ideas. So the way that Penji works is we work on one active request at a time, and depending upon what service you actually do. So it'd be 1, 2, 5 if you so choose. But for the most part, most merch by Amazon and the print on demand. I keep plugging Amazon. I should just say print on demand. The print on demand community most likely will sign up for like the $349 package, right?
That's your professional package. It's $300. Make sure I qualify people with this,
yes,
because I always say this up front. I have an affiliate code, so I don't want to hide that from anybody. And if you use it, that's great for me. If you don't, I'm not offended. I get it. I won't get offended. So I just want to qualify that. So I do benefit if you buy it. However, it's $349 a month, and that is a flat fee. And it's unlimited design requests. Now, you're working on them one at a time, and you're going to go through all these different examples. But I just want to make sure people understand that. So it's $349, and it's unlimited design requests, meaning that I could just hit you with boom, ba boom, ba boom, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So we work on one request at a time, and there's two different types of people. Like you said it perfectly. There's the type that wants as many designs because they want to spray and pray and just hope that at least one of them sticks.
Wait.
Right?
I like that. I got to write that down. Spray and pray.
I wish I can trademark it, but I can't. So there's that approach where you're coming up with like 50 design projects, and then there's the other one where they're coming up with the quality. So let me tell you a little bit how Penji works. So in one design request, right, you can do what's called a bulk or batch design. So if you want to go back to the original idea of the dog, right, say you have 15 dog names that you want to be able to say, and I love my dog, Fluffy, I love my dog, whatever. That can all be one design request. So you can tell us to do 15 of this exact style, replace the name, and send it over to me. That can be one request. Once we're done that one request, we'll deliver it in under 48 hours. And let's just say your next idea is like a high quality custom illustration of, unicorn dabbing. We'll use that example. I've seen both of them work. I particularly, if I can just give my honest opinion, I'm obsessed with quality. So I'm not like me. If I were to when I make t-shirts, I make t-shirts of like what I would actually wear for myself. So, and maybe that's unsuccessful because I'm not going to the masses, but that's like what makes it fun for me. So yeah, if I were to do a t-shirt, I would do something a little bit more like illustration, clean lines. That's just my style. So it depends on your personality to answer the long-winded, to give a long-winded answer. It just depends on who you are and what you like to do.
Well, because ultimately, I mean, I know the image sells, but the image has to get found. And there's art in that title. There is art in the keywords. That's where a lot of the art comes in, and that's very important. And that's not coming from your service, correct? You're not sending me the title, and recommended keywords, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. All right, so make sure people understand that.
Yeah,
okay.
We won't do any of the copy. We won't do the keywords. We can say that there is something in the works where we're going to try to help with that, but it's too beta to really officially announce, but it's definitely something that we're thinking about helping you with.
Okay. So at this point, it's a little more really on the design side. I mean, that's really what your forte is. But that's probably the most time consuming. Now, it also says I get a designated or I can't say it, a dedicated designer. Ooh, I wanted to merge those two words so bad. So a dedicated designer, meaning that I get the same person I'm working with generally on an ongoing basis, and so we actually can establish a rapport?
You most certainly can, yeah. You can definitely ask for that particular person, or you can just use whoever is available, whatever's up to you. You also get a project manager.
Oh,
where the project manager will. Yeah, the project manager is, I'm a sports person, so I'll just use analogies if that's okay. It's like your quarterback. It's your person that kind of like is there for you, guides you through the process, make sure that you're getting everything correctly, making sure that you're happy. You can talk to them directly via chat. We have a very intuitive chat platform that we have here, where you can. It's very similar to like Facebook Messenger. So you go on, you want to talk to somebody, you literally just send the message, and one of our team members will respond. And what I think is really cool about that in particular is we want to be that company that's always online when you are. So if you're working your butt off at 9 in the morning, whether you're EST, PST, whatever it is, somebody's going to be online answering that question. Or let's just say you really like working late at night at 1 in the morning. Again, it could be 1 a.m. here, it could be 1 a.m. in France. Regardless of the time constraints, we want to be that company that's active. So it's not just like a day thing. It's not just a night thing. We're active at all times of the day.
I mean, and I don't know if this is a normal question. I don't know what it really matters. How many of your designs or what percentage are done in the U.S.? You know what? It doesn't even matter to me. Never mind.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, it's a real question. So I'll definitely answer it, and we're not hiding it by any means. In order for us to be effective, we have to have some form of element of like offshore and onshore teams. So for us, we have a base here in the United States, and our project managers are all here. Our designers, we have about 10, 11 people here in the United States. We have 35 people worldwide. And that stems from multiple countries and not just, the United States. But a lot of the main operation is here right in Camden, New Jersey. And we're really proud of having an international based company. And we're really proud of having a base here in Camden. We do a lot of what I think is great things for the city. We hire inner city youth in a city that a lot of people neglect. We give job opportunities and internship opportunities to students here in Camden, again, because a lot of people neglect the city. And there's a lot of money being spent here in the city, and the companies that are here now, they're not giving back as much as they probably should. So we've done as much as we can to give back to our community. We're very community conscious. So as much as we do have team members in overseas, and I do want to at least state that every person that is working for us has to go through a process, a very strenuous process, where we make sure that they are 100% qualified before they begin designing on any project for a customer. So you're not just getting like a freelancer who doesn't care about you. Going back to that original statement, we genuinely care. They care about our company. They care about you. They know our beliefs and what we stand for. So we're not hiring like a random person, a freelancer, so to speak. These are in-house. Although they're not technically in our office, they're in-house people that are facilitating and designing for you.
And that's a long game. And so once you get those relationships and you treat them well, they're in the long game too, because this opportunity doesn't come along. Everybody thinks it does. These jobs are hard to keep, so they have to. It's a give and take. I mean, that's very cool. I was thinking about this. We talked about an earlier business model. So I do my designs for my gym, because he used to have shirts in there and he never had the right sizes and people were taking them, blah, 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 blah. I said to him, hey, let me just throw them up on my thing. And I'm like, you can put your affiliate link if you want to make money on it. But other than that, I'm going to make 100%. I'll do the design work, or actually I don't. My person does. I mean, just to be qualified. But he loves it. It's the best thing in the world, and he'll promote it in his stuff. So that's a business model that's available right now.
I think it's an undertapped market.
There's no doubt. And my trade show example, like we were just with the whole 2,000 podcasters. 2,000. Yeah. What percentage of those people have shirts for their podcast? 10, 20%, the Pat Flynn's of the world or John Lee Dumas, of course. But outside of that, every person I talk to, they're like, oh, man, I need this. I'm like, hey, I can help you. That opportunity is untapped. But then what I like is that the next opportunity. So if you're, before I leave the professional model, it says something in here I just want to make sure that I'm clear on. Unlimited stock photography. So I'm a blogger or a podcaster. If I have this service, am I allowed to use that photography for my podcast or my blog? Am I able to access that stuff?
Yes. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
So that's another value that I could do for my existing business or one that I'm building out, especially if you're building a brand. Those of you listening who have a product that you're building out, we all know you must build the brand, right? And to build a brand, you have to engage. You're going to do that through a blog or through a podcast or YouTube or whatever. You're going to need photography. You just can't go out and get it because you're going to hear of a company. What's that company that comes after everybody for photography? The stock image. Oh my God, we've been sued. Getty Images. Yeah. We've been sued, not here, but in my last career, we've been. They would send you a thing and you're not getting out of it. You're writing them a check. I mean, that's it, and you're taking it down because if you don't, you're really in trouble. They scrape the internet looking for people using that stuff. So never do that for your never. So the fact that you can get this. All right, let's go into the next business model, which is very interesting to me because I had not thought about it. But I think I know some people doing it. You offer an agency similar to what you were before. So is this the way I understand it? I could send you whatever, because it gives me 2 active projects at a time. So Steve could have 2 clients, and I could be sending you stuff so I can help other companies get their merch shirts, and I'm buying them through you, then I get ownership, and then I'm selling them to them. Is that kind of how the model works?
Yeah, exactly. So going back to the small business, very similar to what we once were. Say you have Reebok, 1-800-Flowers, Aeropostale, those types of businesses under your wing and active as a client, you can have us design for them. We are the agency's agency. So agencies hire, we're not in competition with the agencies. We're literally their support. We are their guide for design because believe it or not, a lot of agencies, they don't, very rarely do they source the design in-house. Yeah. Unless you're like a huge company, right? Unless you're like a huge marketing business, then you might source it. But a large majority of them outsource it.
Well, they have to because it's a bottleneck, right? It has to be the bottleneck. You can't have 7 salespeople bringing you designs because you can only be so creative, right? So that makes perfect sense to me.
Yep. Yeah, and then we have 2 designs at a time, and that's where the unlimited profiles mean. So one for the professional package at $349, that is 1 active request and 1 design profile. So you can think of a design profile as a business. So you have one business, like your LLC could be doing all merch, right? And that's fine. And you can also have another business that also does whatever it is that you do. But let's just say you're an agency and you have, again, all those top businesses that were mentioned. Then you can go to the website and check it out. But those types of businesses, those high-end brands, or even just a lot of small businesses that may not be as well established or well known. That's where the agency comes in. So we can literally help every single one of your clients because each of your clients have their own style guide. They have their own color scheme. They have their own logos. They have their own, verbiage. They have their styles, clean lines versus stick lines. I mean, there's very different style approaches. So we need to better understand that. So rather than you just saying, hey, do designs for X, Y, Z, and yada, 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 and we have no understanding of what that style is, then you're going to receive a design that's not suited to the client. But for us to have profiles and learn more about that particular business that you want us to design for, we now have a better understanding of what the style that customer likes or what the style is for their brand. And then we just transpose it, create a good design, send it to you, and then you send it to the client.
And so, I mean, tell me the truth. So you were in the agency world. This was your world. You were that guy before. Is it? Exactly. What's the trend in the industry that are people? I mean, let's face it. All businesses need an agency today to get on the internet. All businesses should be on the internet. Well, that's a duh, right? A bright one, Steve, right? So so they're looking for somebody to help them. Is the world moving to these mega agencies, or is the world moving to that person who's actually going to knock on the door, going to sit with them and spend time with them? And if so, this is I think another example of an untapped market.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I wish I had the foresight because then whatever the direction, the answer to this question is, then I would go all in on it because I agree with you 100%. I think I don't want to say it's another combination of both. I want to at least have a stance here. I would say I do see a lot of business in general going into a more freelancer approach.
Yeah.
I do see the need for people wanting to sit down and have conversations with, but I also see people okay with once you tell them like, hey, this isn't exactly the way it's going to work, they seem to be pretty okay with it.
Well, I think it's a relationship thing, though, right?
And that's exactly what I was
set
going to say.
Expectations. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and you might be one of the outliers because it seems like you have an amazing relationship with your team, but a lot of people are tired of having to interview all of these people and finding the right designer that suits their needs. And we know that the freelance business model is the way of the future. Very rarely are people being hired for graphic work or even just like marketing in general. And so like, what if there was a solution or a business where you can talk to a trusted designer? We did all the hard work in finding them. All you have to do is trust us and sign up for the service. So that's kind of like what we believe the business world is headed to, is that just on demand, I need this now, and I don't really feel like interviewing people, because it takes a lot of time in order to teach somebody your style. It takes a lot of time for somebody to teach them, to onboard them as a new team member. Like, it takes time. You need onboarding processes. You need procedures, because they need to know you. They need to know how you work. And if you'd rather just not care about that and just focus on the design aspect to it, I'd say Penji is a good fit.
Well, and I think there's always going to be a relationship. There has to be expectations. And I think this allows somebody who's great in sales, right, who's got that gift of gab,
yes,
who can
absolutely.
Develop relationships, for them to be able to go out there and work with people and say, hey, look, use my gym as an example, right? He needs to be marketing. That's not his key, right? So if I can go offer those services, and again, I then communicate with you guys. I do that hard work for him, make his life easy, and therefore I get paid, and boom, I love it. So this is that is another business model. And then on top of that, you have custom, which is for the big players and stuff like that. I don't really want to go there, but you have ability to adapt, and I think that's flexible. So again, let's go back to the professional, because I think most people listening to this now, so they're sitting there saying, for $349, and let me just tell you, I pay more than that for my designer. And to be honest with you, I don't interact with my designer. My manager does. So I just want to qualify that. She's the talent. I'm the eye candy, so I like
yeah. I was just going to say
the athlete. As everybody knows me, I'm this big athlete. You met me. Yeah, right. Don't laugh that hard. Thanks. Anyway, so the professional model, the $349 a month, and there's a discount code I'm going to give you anybody's interested in it. So it's one active project. So again, I'm going to go back to me and my dabbing unicorn, and I say, you know what? I want this in. I guess I'm going to give you my dabbing unicorn, but I also want a dabbing. I guess and it has a phrase with it. And so I can just change the phrase, and you would say, yeah, that could be one project, because I have 5 different phrases that go with the exact same design, right? Fair? I just want to make sure I'm correct on that.
Yep.
Okay. And so that's done once for one account. So it's Steve, it's not Steve and Bill, it's Steve and Steve. Okay. And one company. And then I can request a whole bunch of them. How many can you get through in a month? That's a fair question, I think.
That is an extremely fair question. It really ranges on the style, but what we always say is anywhere between 10 to 50 design projects on a month.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that you'll receive 10 or 50 like actual designs. Going back to the example of like the I Love My Dog, you can batch designs. So we had somebody at one point in time do a design where they wanted us to change the name of every state in the United States. So, and that was one design project. That
came out quick, right? I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. I think it took, because it was 50, I think it took a little bit longer than the 48-hour turnaround time, but we were able to do it in a very fast fashion. So again, all 50 were done, sent to the client, and they posted it on whatever platform that they choose. But that was one design request. And then we had to go back to 2, 3, 4, and all that other stuff. So they received 50 in that one. It doesn't happen often, but they received 50 in that first design request. And then they probably just asked for something smaller on the second.
That scale, let's just talk about that for a second. I think it's a very good example. So somebody who's sitting here saying, man, how am I going to come up with 100 designs? So that was 50. They put it in 5 different color shirts you're allowed to do. They can also do it in the little pop-ups now that we're all approved on. And that's just on Amazon, right? And so that would very quickly carry them for a month or two. If they add in the other 19, right, you said there's about 20 real outlier print-on-demand sites, all of a sudden you have a pretty scaled business in your first month. if you focus that way. Now, it's kind of like, it's funny. I was just talking with somebody about this. We have a big merchant fulfilled business too, and a lot of one-offs. And somebody was commenting about how long it takes to handle a one-off. It takes exactly the same amount of time for me to do where I have one water bottle, or if I have 100 tape measures. I'm looking at my desk. And so the listing is exactly the same. It's one listing. All I do is instead of changing the quantity I just change the quantity from 1 to 100. And that's it. That's the only other change. It takes just the same amount of time. But from a dollar value, me putting up 100 tape measures, now I've scaled because now it's a vending machine, right? I like that vending machine model. This is really the same approach. And I think if you're getting started in merch and you get the 100, the 100 tier, or you want to get, I'm at 1,000 tier, and you want to, once you get past that, and how am I going to get another, 1,000 designs? This is a very doable way to scale very, very quickly. Whether they sell or not, that's another issue, but to scale very quickly and get in there, and then you can start to fine tune. And I think that's the lesson is you gotta get there, get through the pain of it, go through the difficulty of what it's like to work with somebody else. They're not going to work at your pace. There's always a communication gap until you figure out when Steve says turn, whether that means right or left. I got that man issue too. That's going to make it even harder to communicate. And I think all those things are important. The other thing I liked is you got a 15-day money back guarantee when you start, and there's no contract, meaning that, I try it for a month, Jonathan, it's just not working for me. Okay. Yeah. No strings. Boom. You pay it, you run out, and you move on. Okay. Dude, I love it. I love that you scratched an itch. You're one of the exact examples where you guys had your own problem, you had your own issue, and you took and you fixed it, and then you said, I bet you there are others out there. I see a whole bunch of people. I'm watching John Chartier, doing something similar. He's like, hey, I've got this problem. Let me fix it. And then boom, he does, and he's like, hey, maybe somebody else will be interested in these same issue because they're probably having the same problems I have. And I think that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So tell me where the name came from. I don't want to miss that because I don't want to. I want to understand what that means.
I wish I could tell you.
Dude,
but unfortunately I can't. So we, myself and my co-founder, there's only 3 people on this earth that know exactly the meaning behind Penji.
It's like a. Did you cut your wrists and mix blood? So it's like a blood oath that nobody can tell.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. So we left it up to our team. We said this is what it was actually. Penji was actually called something different beforehand, but we came up with it, and then we were like, all right, here's the thing: we will only tell you unless you figure it out. So if you figure it out, you can send hit me up anytime. You have my information. You let me know. And I'll actively say if you're on the right track or if you're not on the right track.
I have an inkling. I already have an inkling.
All right. Well,
I have an inkling.
Yeah, I mean, if you think you got it, then sure, let's talk about it and we can see. But to date, there's only 3 people that know: myself, my co-founder, and one of our founding members. Even our the second founding member of our company, he doesn't even know what it means.
Nice.
It's safe to say that it's definitely tightly wrapped. But I do want to say one thing that you spoke to in the very beginning of the conversation. And you talked about like my enthusiasm, my voice, right, my excitement, my joy, and I am so happy to help people with this issue of design. And I think for the first time in my entire life, because we've had other businesses before, this one in particular is so fulfilling for me personally because we're finally solving a large enough issue and we're helping people. Like I just genuinely love helping others, and it's fun to help others. And if you like the enthusiasm in my voice, just imagine like the enthusiasm that you're going to receive if you were to actually, use Penji's service. We love helping people here at Penji. It's rewarding, it's fun, it's different, it's new, and I can say, just full disclosure, for the first time in my life, this is the most fun that I'm having when it comes to running a business, working on a business, because we're able to service so many people. And that's just, when you think about it, that's really cool.
It's very cool. And, as I'm sitting here, and I know this is going to sound corny, but unless you're a designer, and I'm not. But
I'll be honest with you, I'm not a designer.
Okay, but here's the deal. You're actually letting artists get their stuff out. And I know people are going to be like, what? Graphic designer's not an artist. Yeah, BS to that.
Yeah.
yes to that. That is an art. That design is an art, right? And you're actually letting artists get their stuff out. That's really what they want to do, is for the world to see it. Whether they get the recognition or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, whether
just
they
want
design it themselves, they can still be creative.
they want it out.
Exactly.
And so it's a very, very cool, dude. It's very, very cool. So I do want to mention two people, Helen Kinson, who it's funny. Jonathan and I met at a pool table, and there's no really good story there other than we were just chatting. It wasn't like we bet on a game.
I thought it was a pretty cool story.
Oh no, it was cool, but it wasn't like we had this crazy bet, and I walked out with my stick, brought it out of my case, and my sunglasses, the Tom Cruise moment. It wasn't like that. Right?
I'll remember it as such.
Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of people who are saying, "Yeah, Steve, you're such an athlete."
You had Amazon FBA, right? Amazon FBA.
I had my Sellerlabs. The Sellerlabs team will be very proud at this giant event. I wear my famous on Amazon Sellerlabs shirt because I'm always promoting my sponsor, and I do appreciate those guys. So I always do. It gives me a chance to have a discussion and a conversation.
And
it
that's
always
exactly
opens
how
a door.
it happened.
And you're like, Amazon, and then we hit, and then you're like, well, do you know? And like Chris Green, I message him. He's like, dude's cool. I mean, he's messaging me back like instantly, like, oh, how did you guys meet? And it's such a small world as the worlds continue to collide. But I think, doors open, people come into your life for a reason. And it's very exciting to me to help you get your message out. Yes, you're going to pay me. So I qualify that. And again, you can choose not to put my code in there if you feel strong, like, I'm not going to help you, Steve. Okay. I don't care. But it's very cool to me that this is there for people. And quite frankly, I didn't have any knowledge. Helen mentioned it to me, Helen Kinson. And it didn't connect it all the way until I started digging. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is real. This is a very scalable business. Somebody who's into this, if this is your lane, this could open up doors for you that you didn't even realize. And absolutely. I think if you're creative, this is a great opportunity. So, okay. So again, I'm going to have a link, but the code is Momentum. So if you're going to sign up, you sign up on Penji.co. And there's a place for pricing. Click on the bottom. It says sign up. You're going to go to screen. You fill out a whole bunch of things and ask for a promo code. And the promo code that I have for you is called Momentum. Real deep thinking there. It's going to save you 15% off month one. And so try it. Save 15%. Try it. It's a 15-day money-back guarantee. But once you get through it, and then you're going to be like, okay, I can see this opportunity. And I like I said, I spend more money than this for my designer right now for the limited number of designs I get. And so it's very exciting to me that this opportunity is here. And so, again, it's Penji.co. The code is Momentum. You're going to save 15%. And I'll have links on the episode too. So last question for you, Jonathan. I always ask this question, is that my goal of my podcast is really to help people who get stuck. Because I think I always say it's easy to do $30,000 a month selling on Amazon or even on merch. It's easy to get to, tier 100 and maybe a little bit past it, but they don't get past that point of stuck. What's the best advice you have for somebody who's stuck?
That is, I have a podcast too.
Oh, what's the name of your podcast?
It's called Blind Entrepreneurship.
Blind Entrepreneurship.
Yep, Blind Entrepreneurship. Yeah, so if you go to, not to throw a plug, but just tbeshow.com.
TBE.
And I talk about the exact same things, like blind spots in business or blindness in all aspect of it. And so I'm not going to give you the cliche answers that just go out there and just do it, boy. I'm going to give you
put your head down and suck it up.
Put your head down and work your butt off until the cows come home in the morning, whatever it is. I don't know why I went Southern there, but I'll just leave it at that.
It was very good.
Anyways, I'm just going to give you a quick pieces of advice that, if you're into this rat race of just this beautiful disaster, as I call entrepreneurship. Number one, check your ego out the door. Get out of your own way. I think ego plays a huge part in all aspects of business, and you can easily get caught up and make really important decisions just based off of something really silly like your ego. Just check it out the door. Stop trying to create a trendy brand if you're like a small business owner. I think a lot of people try to create things that are trendy and they spend all this time looking cool, but the people that actually tell you that you're cool are your customers. So let your customers dictate who you are and what your brand is. And then I'd say the third thing is stop reading random articles.
Ooh. That's a Gary V moment right there. Go for it.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. Stop reading
crap.
everything and take action. No, I think you're
Well,
right.
I'm gonna change it. See, I was originally a fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. He actually brought me into this world of entrepreneurship, and now I'm trying everything I can to not be a part of it. But so I would say, yes, stop reading articles and just do it. But at the same time, a lot of people are reading so many articles and receiving information that they're neglecting like what is true about their business. So I would say that if you are going to read an article, make sure it's by a trusted publication, like a publisher. It's by a credible person, or it's curated forms of media. So you and I had a conversation. We met at a conference. You knew that what I did was interesting. We had conversations about it, and we found a way to make it mutually beneficial for both parties and for the audience that we're talking to. And so if it's not curated and you're listening to random things, you're going to be getting advice from somebody who hasn't lived it before. So that's the thing that I would just recommend, those three things. And then have fun. That's most important.
Well, I think that's really important, that have fun part, though. One of the things I do remember when we met, it was at a party, and you were whistling, you were enjoying yourself, you and your friend. I don't remember who your friend was, but it was very, very cool that you guys were just enjoying your moment. You know what I mean? It wasn't that's the way it's supposed to be. And I talk about a well-designed life, and I think that's so important dude. Very, very cool. If somebody wanted to get in touch with it, they can get in touch with it at the TBE show. If there's a contact button or something like that.
Yeah, more importantly, head over to Penji.co. That's what we're mainly talking about. Yeah. Okay. And then use that coupon code Momentum, 15% off the first month. And we are happy and honored to call you a member of Penji.
I'm very excited about that. Dude, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Dude was cool. Dude was very cool. We met, and probably half the time we met face-to-face, our conversation was about Chris Green and how just giving and generous, and nobody knows. Most people, unless you benefited from it, you wouldn't even know that he just does it out of the goodness of his heart. He's never asked for anything, never requires anything. There's no quid pro quo. He just wants to help people. And so it's so cool that we made that connection there. And it's even cooler for me that two people were connected. It was Jeff Cohen for Sellerlabs giving me that shirt that allowed that conversation. And then the conversation immediately switched to another great guy that I love, Chris Green. And it was like about giving with both of them. And it's just very, very cool. So I hope you find those people in your life, like I've been so fortunate to. I hope this connects with you. If you're looking to expand your business, if you're looking for a way to grow, if you already have designers and you need to expand, kind of like he did with an agency, outsource, get some more designs coming in. This could be a way for you to do it. Again, it's Penji.co. Go to pricing, click on it. If you do the member, or if you put in the promo code Momentum, you're going to save 15% off. And you get that 15-day money-back guarantee on that first month. I think that's important because if it's not a fit, walk away from it. And again, you don't have to use my code if you don't want to. I get it. I'm cool with that. But take advantage of these things and build out this business if this is what you want, because this sounds like a great connection for a lot of people. ecommercemomentum.com, ecommercemomentum.com. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the E-Commerce Momentum Podcast. All the links mentioned today can be found at ecommercemomentum.com under this episode number. Please remember to subscribe and like us on iTunes.